Hey there, welcome to the garden. I'm out here today with my clippers and my garden twine, and I'm going to tie up a few things. We have gotten so much rain. We keep having these storms that just like come and dump so much water all at once. They're pretty intense, and then they kind of go away. But it's been pretty intense, and a lot of things are starting to flop over. I needed to kind of stake and trellis stuff just in general. Anyways, it's kind of like, you know, obviously one of those constant things in the garden. But after this most recent rainstorm, I'm realizing I need to come in. I've got up some bamboo stakes, I got my twine, and then I've got, of course, all the other trellises and everything. First off, we have, oops, I'm trying not to step on everything. We've got this trellis here in the grow bag, and we've got this is a pineapple ground cherry. I should have fed it through the trellis as it was growing up. As you can see, I got to it at first. I got the first branch up, but then I missed this one. So I'm just gonna come in and tuck it in. If I can get away with not using actual twine to trellis things, I will. I don't know if I can feed this. Yeah, I don't wanna break this. This one I might need to do a piece of twine. If I can wrap things just like around the trellis, I do prefer that, because it just makes life easier when I have to take it off, but I think I'm gonna have to put some twine on those. Okay, and then the real big problem I have are the tomatoes. I need to get those wrapped up around the arch. They are just growing beautifully, but getting absolutely wild. So I'm gonna start with this, and I just use, you can see I have a little twine here. I just use like a little piece. I don't do anything too crazy. I love twine because it's compostable, so if it falls in the garden, it'll just decompose. This is just jute twine. And I just cut a little, if my clippers will cut it. There we go. I just cut a little string, and then I'll just take it up here and keep it really, I just keep it really loose. I'm gonna need 2 hands to tie this, but I just keep it, I'll just show you how loose I keep it. I just keep it really loose, and then I'll just tie a little bow right here, and that will hold the plant up to the trellis. And so I really wish I'd gotten on it, but that's okay. We'll just tie it. And I decided to include the other branch in here too, and then they'll continue to grow and form around that. And I've got a few smaller ones that I think I have space to pull these just under, and that's good. And then of course the cucamelons on here are also, they're just attaching on their own. So now let's deal with the tomatoes. Unfortunately, with the rain, it was heavy enough to actually push one of these branches down. So I'm gonna come in and get the whole thing tucked back in. All right, so I did end up using some twine to tie up the tomatoes. So they look a little bit funny right now, but they'll continue to form their shape around the arch trellis. And I am guessing that you know, I mean, it's only early July right now. These are gonna get like, they're gonna go all the way over this arch trellis. It's gonna be really, really gorgeous. I'm so excited, and there are so many cherry tomatoes on here. I've seen so many Juliet tomatoes. They're always some of the earliest for me, but even like the Berries Crazy cherries are starting to put on big clusters. So exciting. So anyways, got that set up, and then I just went ahead and popped in a little couple stakes in this area just to help prop things up. I don't really know right now if it's just because of the rain, but everything's kind of falling over there. And then I went ahead and tied up my Rudbeckia as well because it had started to sort of flop over. And I noticed there's a ton of spider mite damage in this bed, and I don't know what it is in particular about this bed, but there are always so many spider mites on everything that I grow in there, which is kind of frustrating. So I'm not exactly sure what I want to do as far as, I don't know, do I want to treat the plants? Should I just pull out these, varieties? Obviously the spider mites aren't on the foxglove. There's a few things they aren't bugging, but they are just eating up my black-eyed Susans, and yeah, I don't know. But I did find all the way under here, pest riddled, a couple blooms from one of the Figaro mixed dahlias that I planted in here years ago, and it's turned into a perennial, and that was just kind of cute to see that bloomed. Oop, I thought that was a bug. We've got a lot of bugs. I just noticed a Japanese beetle as well on my echinacea, which is such a bummer. So I'm gonna have to get that guy off. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what exactly I want to do, because obviously those are all perennials, but I don't just want to keep feeding the spider mites. So maybe I will take those out this winter. We'll see what I end up doing with that. Everything kind of supported. And then I do have like a couple zinnias in this bed here that I think I just need to get a stake. Actually, you know what, I'll move this one. Prop up the echinacea. I don't think I actually need it. I don't think it's doing much. Sometimes what I'll do is just like stick a stake in here and then just gather everything up toward it, just to help to keep things from flopping over, especially when they're kind of reaching toward the sun. I think that's part of what the zinnia is doing. It's sort of reaching toward the sun, but it's also just it's just falling over. Although the eggplants and the peppers look super good. These are the jalapenos. They don't look like they really need a stake, and the eggplant doesn't look like it's needing it at all either. I think this is a queen lime red zinnia that just maybe didn't get enough sun because it was growing underneath the peppers, because this was all queen lime mix, but this might be one of the peach. I can't remember which seeds I ended up throwing in here, but they're beautiful. Is that not a gorgeous zinnia? I mean, I just love zinnias. They're some of my favorite flowers, so they look pretty in there. But I'm gonna have to get a string and just tie up all these zinnias so that they aren't completely falling over. But they are getting some nice long stems for the flowers. That is one of the benefits of them kind of falling over. And then I need to stake. Okay, don't judge me. This is the 1 gallon growing experiment, and we need to stake up these tomatoes. I also have to move this one because it's right next to my air conditioner. Obviously is right there, and it's right next to it, and it keeps drying out, so we need to stake that. Guys, as I'm looking around, it's not as bad as I first sort of thought it was. Most things are up right now. We've got the tomatoes from completely falling over. I have not been pruning any of the tomato suckers. I've just been letting them kind of grow because I wanted the whole arch to be super thick with tomatoes, but I have been trying to go in and prune out some of the lower leaves, some of the excess leaves, and keep the foliage to kind of the minimum that I can, at least as we keep going up, just so that we get a little bit of airflow, because there's not a whole lot of airflow right now on that arch trellis. But I think it's gonna be okay. Eventually it might kind of get too heavy, so I may need to start going in and actually doing some pruning as well, because I'm starting to look at it like right there, and it's starting to get really thick. It just looks like we might get to a point where it's kind of like too too thick for this, but I think there's still space. I don't know. I didn't realize part of what happened with this is I did not realize how crazy the spoon tomatoes are. They are the little tiny ones. Like, look how tiny these tomatoes are gonna be. That's my finger for reference. So tiny. But those are gonna be really, really cool, but they're just such a crazy grower. Anyways, now that I've got everything tied up, I'm just doing some more kind of tidying things out here. Just waiting, I feel like now, just waiting for a lot of the harvests to come in. I don't have too many things to do. It's kind of just the tying up, the tidying, a few edits here and there, different things. And sorry, the guard just brushed my leg. And I felt like I thought there was something. There's a lot of bugs out here right now. I am dealing with a lot of bugs as usual, but honestly, knock on wood, it hasn't been as bad as it is some years. And so far, the pest pressure, other than those spider mites that are really just always in that bed, I feel like the pest pressure is not as bad as it could be. It's pretty decent. So every year I just try to really focus on the plants that aren't going to be bothered by pests, and I feel like that's working. As I was out here staking up the tomatoes, I found the first, I think it's the Jimmy Nardello tomatoes staked up now. And then I was looking in here and you can see the first of the Jimmy Nardello peppers, which is so crazy because I feel like this pepper plant is just, I mean, it's kind of completely lost in all of the cosmos and the herbs, but it still managed to produce a pepper. So I'm gonna have to harvest this pretty soon here and give it a try. It's so fun when you see a plant like that, I mean, this is not ideal conditions, you know, it's, the poor little plant is just like surrounded by everything, but it's still putting off a ton of peppers. I think, look at all, these are, I think this is a banana pepper. Look at all those little flowers on there. I was worried about the peppers this year, but I don't think I need to be. Cool May and June that I was a little worried that the peppers weren't going to do so well, just because it was so much cooler than they like it when it's warm. But they look great. They're super happy. This whole grow bag was kind of an afterthought and I kind of haven't paid attention to it, and all of a sudden now I'm looking at it and everything in it is doing really well. Of course, the cosmos are blooming. They got kind of smashed down by the rain. Blooming and blooming away in here and been super, super pretty. And then there's even, like, I threw in this random cucumber plant and look at all of the cucumbers that are growing on there now. And just what a fun little grow bag. I've been so happy with the grow bags this year, so it's pretty cool to see that. All right, well, I think I didn't have to stake up anything over here. I'm just gonna check and see. I've been trying to keep an eye on this 8-ball pepper, I keep calling it pepper, 8-ball squash, which is using the frame of our greenhouse to stay up, and it looks like the first female flowers are on there, so hopefully we'll have some of those soon. And I didn't have to stake up any of these pumpkin on a stick eggplants because I have been keeping on top of keeping them within the frame of the greenhouse, and it's just little stuff like that, like just that little movement like that, and now it'll grow up and it'll continue to use the frame of the greenhouse for support, and we won't run into an issue with it flopping over. So as long as you stay on top of that little kind of edits like that, it makes a big difference for your plants. And I love having just like a frame set up to grow through. I know a lot of flower farmers do setups with like the nets that the plants grow through. And I may look into some other versions. Like I know they have like just smaller ones that you can put, like in this bed over here that has all the black-eyed Susans and everything. I do have them tied up, but if I had just put a support in there that they could have grown through, that would have been so great. So I'm gonna have to see if I can find something for next season to try out, because I'd be super interested to see how it does. Now I just out of the corner of my eye, I saw one of my favorite phlox, and I had to say that's one plant that I've never had to stake up. Like, shout out to my phlox. I've always grown them and I've never had to stake them, and they've always been super strong and beautiful, even though they have these huge heads of flowers. They're so fun. So I'm not gonna bother to stake those because they never never seem to need it, which, you know, you gotta appreciate that too. Always nice when you've got something that just can handle its own self. So anyways, that is the garden tonight. I'm just out here trying to enjoy the evening. We got a little bit of breeze, not many mosquitoes, just got a huge rain, so it's kind of a perfect night to spend a little time out enjoying the garden. I hope you are maybe getting out in your garden today too, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.